All right, let's get into it. Today we're going to play detective and try to crack a really frustrating case. You know the one. Why do our most important gadgets just glitch out, freeze up, and fail for no good reason? So, where are we getting our clues? Well, our entire case file for this one comes straight from the experts, the folks over at RFI Detectives. And just so you know, this is actually part 8 of a big 10-part series we're doing, all based on a super detailed report they put out. We're zeroing in on chapter 8 today, which is all about how you actually diagnose the problem. So yeah, let's jump right in. Okay, so let's start with the big question, the mystery at the heart of it all. I mean, you've totally been there, right? Your computer just freezes out of nowhere. A speaker starts crackling. A sensor gives you a wacky reading, and there's just no obvious reason why. What is going on? Naturally, when you try to get some help, you get the same old lineup of usual suspects. Oh, it must be a hardware fault. Or it's probably just a software bug. Maybe it's a spotty network connection or, a power issue in the building. And yeah, these are the first things we all blame. But honestly, a lot of the time, that's just a complete red herring. Because the real culprit, it's often something you can't even see. You can't hear it, you can't touch it. We're talking about radio frequency interference, or RFI. And here's the tricky part. It's invisible and it comes and goes whenever it wants. Because of that, it gets misdiagnosed all the time. And that leads to so much wasted time, lost productivity, and, get this, people throwing money away replacing hardware that was perfectly fine to begin with. So how in the world do you catch an invisible bad guy? Well, just like any good detective, you've got to learn to see the evidence. It's all about recognizing the telltale patterns that this interference leaves behind at the scene of the crime. So here are the 4 big patterns you need to be looking for. First, the problems are intermittent. They just come and go with no rhyme or reason. Second, look for what's called a temporal correlation. Does your Wi-Fi cut out every single time someone uses the microwave? That is a massive clue. Third, proximity. Does your phone only lose its signal in that one specific corner of the room? And finally, this is the big one, the smoking gun, when a bunch of totally different unrelated devices all start glitching out at the exact same time. Okay, so once you think RFI might be your culprit, you can't just start pointing fingers and guessing. No, you need a process, a systematic investigation to track down the source and actually prove your case. In the RFI Detectives report gives us a perfect 4-step framework for this. Step 1, document. And I mean everything. Keep a log, time, date, which device failed, what was happening at that moment. You've got to be meticulous. Step 2, correlate. You take that log and you match it up with other stuff that was going on. Did the elevator just start moving? Did a big machine on the factory floor just fire up? Step 3, measure. This is where you bring in the tools to actually detect and measure the invisible RF energy in the environment. And finally, step 4, and this is the absolute key, verify. Can you turn off the thing you think is causing the problem and see if the glitches just disappear? If they do, boom, case closed. Now, you might be wondering, what kind of tools do I need in my detective kit? Well, it really depends on the case. For a lot of the common stuff, believe it or not, all you really need are your own eyes and ears. That detailed logbook we mentioned, that's your #1 tool. But for the really complex, high-stakes situations, think hospitals, data centers, that's when you've got to call in the forensics team. We're talking professional, calibrated instruments to get that rock-solid, definitive proof. All right, let's start to wrap this case up. We're going to summarize the absolute key takeaways here. Think of this as your official detective's handbook for cracking these kinds of mysteries. Rule #1, and this is the big one, pattern recognition is everything. You have to train yourself and your team to spot these signs instead of just automatically blaming the hardware or the software. That's the default, right? Don't do it. Look for the real clues in the timing and the location of the failures. Okay, rule #2. Follow a systematic process. I know it's tempting to just start guessing, hey, maybe it's this old power strip over here. But resist that urge. Guessing is just going to waste your time. You have to be methodical. Document, correlate, measure, and then verify. Stick to the process and let the evidence show you the way. And finally, rule #3. Use the right tool for the job. Seriously, your brain and a simple notebook are incredibly powerful tools. You can solve a ton of cases with just those. But when the stakes are really high or the mystery is just too deep, don't ever hesitate to call on the pros with the specialized gear. So, the thing to remember is that these mysterious glitches, they almost always have a logical, detectable cause. It's not just random bad luck. So now the question is for you. With everything you've just learned, what invisible culprits might be hiding in your workspace?
The investigation is officially in your hands now.